Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to use SchoolCity in Schoology to create an exam, proctor it, and then see the grades transferred automatically back into Schoology. I need to start off with a caveat at first, and that is that you need to make sure if you are using this Schoology LTI that you have an active and current SchoolCity account. If you're not sure, you're going to need to check with Tina Garrett in assessment and evaluation to make sure that you have an active and current account in SchoolCity. So now we're going to go into your Schoology course, click Add Materials, and in the drop-down menu we want the Add File, Link, External Tool option. Once that loads, we're going to pick the External Tool option on the side, and now we're going to access the Tool Provider menu, and we want the SchoolCity Suite option. Now we're going to add in a title. I'm going to call this Chapter 1 Test. And now we have to enter a very specific URL, which is https://lti.schoolcity.com. Then we're going to go down to the Enable Grading box and check that. Add appropriate date. And the category, you can either use a pre-existing category or you can create a new grading category if you want for this specific assignment. And what I'm going to do is click Test. And that's pretty much everything that I need for this, and I'm going to now click Submit to complete this first step. Okay, now we're going to go in and unpublish this so the kids can't see it yet. So we're going to go to Schoology, the Materials section, click the gear, choose Unpublish. This is going to make it accessible to us as teachers, but the students will not be able to see it. Now that we've done that, if we click the link, a SchoolCity window is going to open up. So let's go ahead and click that. And now we're actually in the SchoolCity environment. And we are going to pick SchoolCity Assessment. And we want the bottom one because we're going to create our own assessment for this example. So we'll click that. And what we want now is to go to Assessment Setup. We're going to add some information here. So we click that. And now we are actually into the typical SchoolCity exam creation process. We're going to try to match some of the settings with what we had in Schoology, so we're going to give it a name. We're going to choose the subject area. This way we can associate any content standards that we want to include. And then we're going to go Next. And I'm going to drill down to the specific science and grade level. We're going to pretend I'm back in my biology teaching days, and I'm going to pick some appropriate standards for this unit that we are testing. And of course in the background, once I do this, SchoolCity is going to grab the options of questions for this particular exam. And now once we click Next, it's going to build a preview of the exam. And we can start looking at the types of questions that we want, if they're multiple choice, if they are a single choice versus multiple option choices versus constructed responses. So the next step now is to go in and activate the students that we want to take the test. So you will go down, select, you can select the whole class at once, or you can select individual students. That's up to you to determine who's going to take it. And once that's done, we're going to click OK. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Once we have selected the questions and activated the students, we're really done with the SchoolCity side. So now what we want to do is see what it's going to look like on the student side. So if you go to Course Options and select View Course As, you can pick one of your students to see what it looks like on their end. Okay, so let's take a look at it from the student's perspective. And a comment that you want to make sure that your students expand the the window to full size, there's a little button on the upper right. So here we're going to take a look at an example from the ELA benchmark that has a variety of different types of questions with the reading part off to the side. When there's boxes, it infers that there's more than one choice. If it's just a radio button, that means there's one answer. And you can mix and match lots of different types of questions. When they're done with a page, they click the blue End button to go to the next set of questions. And eventually they're going to get to, if you have created a constructed response window that has some minor text editing functionality. So they will go ahead and type in there, put in some kind of a response that you would have to go back later and score. All of the other types of questions so far are automatically scored by the computer. This type you will have to go in after the test and grade it. So when the student has finally completed everything, they're going to click the Done button, take a look at their responses, click Submit, one last chance to review if needed, and then they're going to click the Submit for Scoring button. At this point, it's going to bring up a response window for the student, and it will show them the number of computer scored that they got correct, and it also is going to indicate that there are some items still for the teacher to correct. So what's going to happen now is you wait for the class to finish their test, and at the end you're going to want to make sure that you unpublish this so that it's not still hanging out there for the kids to access from home. So you're going to go back into Schoology, into the material section, and click the Gear and Unpublish option. So that will hide it. Now what we need to do though is, if you included constructed responses, you're going to need to go into SchoolCity via the link in Schoology. And you're going to want to click the Score Online icon. And then we're going to go in to each student. You can select all students to grade at the same time, or you can do it by course. You just need to pick the drop-down menu, and like I said, click all or a specific course. The students test will come up for you to go through, and it will show the constructed response windows that you need to go in and correct. So here we have an entry that we're looking at. We're going to click a button to assign the score. It doesn't really work to click in the window and add it. You need to click the buttons to assign a score. If you want to give feedback, click the teacher feedback, and there's a window for you to add information. And then you would click that for that student, and then you could go on to the next one. And then when you're completely done, you'll click the Done button down at the bottom. So now that you've gone through and graded all of the constructed responses, it will compile the score instantly and pass the grade back to Schoology. However, you will need to go into Schoology and publish the assignment, or those grades will never be seen by the students.